Welcome one and all to the best goddamn breakfast podcast show within a 5-mile radius. We're going to toast the shit out of your morning, throw a steaming hot cup of coffee in the face of boredom. Yeah, bitches, we're back, we're hungry as fuck, and we're going to bring you a waffly good time. And I didn't write the intro out at all, god damn it. And my name is Brad Nugent, aka The Nuge, aka B, aka Little Lord Fauntleroy. That might be one of those is a lie. And joining me on this lovely virtual sofa, is a lady who has killed more men than the beekeeper, but probably keeps less bees. My sister from another mother, Stace Bob.
Hello. I definitely don't keep bees because I became aware when I was very young that my dad is allergic to bees, and so just panicked then that like maybe that's a trait that I've inherited, and so whenever I see a bee I fully scarp her, like I'm gone, I'm just a cloud of dust because I have left the building. You should see me at picnics, I'm a disaster. I don't go outside much, which is why I'm as pasty white. I'm like a ghost on this video. It's ridiculous. That was a really good intro, Barry. I feel like I need to point that out. But now you've set a standard that I don't think either of us is going to be able to.
I feel like we can do it.
If you say so. I am not confident in my skills. Hey, so because our Skype keeps falling over, should we just like fucking roll on and try and get this shit done?
Yes.
Oh baby, let's cut out all the bants today. We don't need the bants because we've had that rad intro and already a catastrophic Skype fail. So here's some trumpets. Jazz.
Can I just clarify something?
Yeah.
By cut out all the bamfs, were you talking about banter?
Yes.
Okay. Just
sorry. I am nearly 40, but I do not act it.
and I am 50. Oh God, 50 something.
50 something. Let's not think about it. It's fine.
It's fine.
You're as young as you feel. And no, I'm not going to finish that. I was going to.
Hey, I'm looking forward to becoming a Force Ghost just so I can hang about and hassle people.
Oh, that'd be cool, actually. I'll probably see you more often then than I do now in person. Anyway,
yes.
What segment do we want to do first?
Let's do musical musings.
Okay. I'll let you sort of take the lead on this one then, because it was your idea to do something a bit different special this time.
Okay, intros. Right, musical musings. So this week, I thought we did this a little while ago, actually, where we picked a composer and we kind of focused in on that composer and picked a couple of tracks around that composer. So I suggested this to Stace for this week, and luckily for me, she said, okay, let's do it. So the composer that I have suggested, we need to keep a track so that you can suggest the composer next time.
Yeah.
Is our old friend Bear McCreary.
Good old Bear McCreary.
Yay.
What a ledge.
Yeah. So would you like me to go first?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Hopefully you haven't stolen any of my... I picked 3, you see. I picked 2 like main ones and then like an honourable mention.
Oh, okay. I've only picked 2.
Okay.
That's okay. So first one is from a little show called Battlestar Galactica.
Oh yeah, never heard of it. Go on.
Yeah. And actually, it's one of them shows as well where it was actually a reboot where it was a really, really good reboot. At least I thought so anyway, having watched the original series when I was a kid. So I actually thought it was a really good reboot in a way to sort of bring it up to date and give it still hit the same similar touchstones, but do things in a different way. And I think a big part of why that show worked for me was Bear McCreary's soundtrack. Yeah. And this probably was, I think, the first time I became aware of him. Was on this series. I'm pretty sure it was. He might be doing other stuff as well, but there were 2 shows that brought him to my attention. This was one, and I will tell you the other one for my next pick. Anyway, the track that I've picked is called Prelude to War, and it is an awesome piece of music. It is probably my favourite piece of music that he's done. It's a whopping 8 minutes. But it's McCreary at his finest. And he's scoring one of my favourite scenes from Battlestar as well. The scene alone should get awards just for the camera angles and the acting that going in it. But then you throw in Bear's score and it's like, oh baby. So yes, that's my first pick. Prelude.
Excellent. Well, I'll do my honourable mention real fast. I didn't watch this show because I don't really care about Lord of the Rings. But I picked a track called Sauron from Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, that I believe it was Amazon TV show, what they did like last year.
Yes.
And in terms of sort of score, this piece of music is so sufficiently Sauron-y in the sense that it's like, well, scary, innit? Brief, met, job, done. So that was my little honourable mention. My first main track, what I have picked, I am in a very hype for Godzilla mood right now because I'm going to go and see Godzilla X Kong tonight.
Nice.
And I'm very excited about it. Oh my God. That track, look, first of all, you've made Godzilla pink and I will forever appreciate that because it's rad looking and I love pink. Very girly thing to say, but I don't care. I love pink things that eat cities whole. So I'm very excited for that. So I went and had a little listen to Bear McCreary's score for Godzilla King of the Monsters yesterday. And it's really, really good because it draws a little bit on the sort of original Godzilla score stuff, but with enough of a twist and enough of like Bear's own signature awesomeness that it's so good to listen to. It's like proper like epic, oh shit, there's a monster kind of score. So the track that I picked is one that I should have looked up how to pronounce beforehand, and you would think, given the fact that I've seen so many Godzilla movies, I say so many because I've not seen all of the like original Japanese ones, but I've seen about 12 of them, I think. That's quite a lot.
That is quite a lot.
Yeah, I also haven't seen the 1998 one because I don't think that film is going to be better than the Jamiroquai song and video that go with that movie.
I can honestly attest to the fact that no, it is not, because I still am a massive fan of Jamiroquai from back in the day, but that tune and that video, he's kind of going through like the sort of, I don't know if it's a cinema or a theatre. Yeah, and everything's sort of coming down, and he's just dancing along. And I was like, you know what? If there's a natural disaster, that's how I want to behave. Just dancing and singing my way to safety.
Yeah, just like completely nonchalant of all the things that are going on around you as you twizzle around on the like skinny backs of theatre chairs. Like, yes. Absolutely. Yeah, I love that video. So I won't watch the 98 Godzilla movie because I don't think it'll live up to that.
It won't. It doesn't.
But yeah, so you would think I would know how to pronounce this monster, but I can't remember. But the piece of music I picked is called Rise of Ghidorah. It's a big scary monster, isn't it? Right? And nobody wants to meet it in a dark alley because it'll probably eat your face off.
Okay.
But this piece of music is properly like it's music to be chipping to, is what
right.
is the best way I can put it.
That's a good description. Music to be chipping to.
Yeah, because it's definitely that sort of like, oh, there's a doom coming towards you. Run away real fast, please. And yeah, like it's just so good and so like, because the thing is, King of the Monsters, I quite like the film, but it's a little bit on the too serious for its own good side, which is why I was so happy that they went down a completely different route when they did Godzilla vs Kong, and they were just like, let's just do big monsters having a big old stupid scrap, and I was like, yes. So yeah, it's great, it's epic, and it's awesome, and it's terrifying.
Cool. Can I before we continue, a quick sort of segue? I haven't seen any of the Godzilla films. I mean, obviously, I used to watch the old school Godzilla back in the day when I was a kid, but other than the aforementioned Jamiroquai Godzilla and the next one that was directed by, is it Gareth Edwards directed it?
Oh, I don't remember.
And I think that it's that one, the Gareth Edwards one, was the one that's kind of kicked off this recent sort of spate of of Godzilla ones. I haven't seen any other Godzillas after that film.
Okay.
Is it worth me watching those films?
Here's what I'll say. It's worth watching Kong Skull Island because that movie is rad. And it's
Isn't there giant spiders in it?
Okay, so there is, but I will say this, right? I didn't find them as scary as I thought I was going to because they're very stylized. Like they've got like super long limbs and you mostly only see the legs and they're not that spider-esque. I don't know. I didn't find them too terrible, but also it's a short enough scene that if I can find out the timestamps for you, in fact, have a look on Does the Dog Die, and do a little. It'll tell you when there's spiders in the movie.
Cool. Okay.
One of my favourite websites. Thank you so much. Does the Dog Die? So that's definitely worth watching, and I really liked Godzilla versus Kong because that was largely just Kong getting an axe and then having a really big fucking scrap. But King of the Monsters and what's the other one? I'm sure there's another one. I forget. King of the Monsters takes itself a bit too seriously and is a bit more about the humans. And I don't care. I just want to see a big gorilla fight a big dino.
Okay.
Because here's the thing, right? One of the things I love about the Hollywood ones is that they're just stupid popcorn monster fare. So when I want like my emotional human moments, I want them in like Godzilla -1, where they do them properly and give them the time and space they need. Because a human interest story doesn't really go along with, oh look, this gorilla's got an axe. Like it doesn't really sit very well together. But I mean, if you liked that first Godzilla movie, 'cause I think that's actually the worst one of all of them, and I think they just keep getting better. Well, okay. I'll be able to confirm or deny that tonight once I've seen Godzilla x Kong as to whether or not it's moving on up the chain. But I adored Godzilla versus Kong, which was wonderful, and Skull Island, which was great. So yeah.
Cool. Okay. All right, we might give it a look see then.
Excellent. What is your next musical musing?
My next musical musing is so this is the other sort of show that I used to watch, which I really enjoyed, and again, it was one of the first times I'd sort of heard Bear McCreary, and it was Da Vinci's Demons.
Do you know what? I was looking through his discography yesterday, and I was like, I've never even heard of this.
Yeah, and it's one of those shows that sort of, I think, kind of flew under the radar a bit, and one of the ways they described it was like basically what if Da Vinci was almost a bit like a cross between sort of Tony Stark, Batman, and Indiana Jones.
Okay. And
it doesn't quite, because my thing is you're kind of doomed to fail if you kind of give me that sort of a spiel. Because I go with my expectations way up there. But I've got to say, I really enjoyed this show. Because it was just fun.
Yeah.
And he's an inventor in it. He's a bit of an adventurer. There's like a cult in there. There's immortality. There's all sorts of stuff going on in there. And it was just, it was really great fun. And the music was phenomenal in it. And the track that I've picked is called The Glider. Which, if anyone knows Da Vinci, they will know that's one of his, I think he did a design of a glider, and because that was his whole deal, wasn't it, was that he did all these designs that were like years ahead of his time and stuff like that. And one of the things I love about this piece of music, it's so good because in the show you kind of see his mind almost when he's kind of thinking up ideas. So you almost see sketches kind of above his head, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a piece of music that really captures, and a scene I think that really captures what it is to be creative.
Mm-hmm.
When you've got the creative juices flowing and everything's sort of coming together, and you get these ideas and you actually don't really know where they've come from. So yeah, it's a lovely piece of music from a cracking little show that I think more people should give a look-see.
Excellent. I'll definitely have a listen to that soundtrack. I do that thing sometimes where I'll just randomly pick a score for something that I've never seen or heard of and be like, let's see what this is about. So I'll just do that. And I'll have no context for any of the things that are happening, but I'll probably like them. My second pick, I didn't realise until you gave me this assignment yesterday, and that makes you sound like some sort of professor. I don't know how much you appreciate that or not.
I do appreciate it.
Okay, good. I didn't realise that Bear McCreary did the score for one of my favourite films, and I feel quite stupid about that, I'll be honest. So this next piece is from a film called Colossal, which is a Anne Hathaway and Jason Sudeikis vehicle, in which Anne Hathaway's character discovers that her mental breakdown that she's having is causing kaiju chaos on the opposite side of the globe. And it's a really bizarre film because it sort of looks like it's going to be a kaiju movie, but actually it's much more about mental health and human interaction and self-esteem. Like there's so much like emotional stuff like mushed in there. But when I went to see it at the cinema with Rich, I hadn't heard a single thing about it except Anne Hathaway was in it, and I was like, well, if nothing else, she'll be nice to look at for an hour or so. That'd be good. And then I came at the cinema and I was like, well, that blew my metaphorical socks off. So the piece of music I've picked is called The Colossal Finale Part 1. I don't want to spoil what happens at the end of the film, but this piece of music so perfectly encapsulates like the culmination of her like sort of emotional and mental state at the end of the film.
Yeah.
It's utterly gorgeous, absolutely stunning piece of music that I'm so mad at myself for not like noticing before and paying attention to this soundtrack. Like, what an actual dickhead. But yeah, it's so good. I'm so glad that you suggested Bear McCreary so that I could discover this yesterday, and now I can keep putting it in my ears forevermore.
You are very welcome.
Cheers, Professor. So there you go. Our wonderful Bear McCreary related musical musings. I had such a hard time with this because I think I've already picked like 3 Bear McCreary songs before.
Yeah, and I may well have picked some of these songs before, but I genuinely didn't care.
Fair. That's absolutely fair. I did a little trawl through our spreadsheet and then realised that I hadn't updated it for 4 episodes, and then spent a little bit of time doing that. So again, helpful. Thanks, B.
Yeah, you're welcome. See, that's me. Helpful. That's me all the way.
Have we got time for a little bit of a Stacey's book corner?
Yes, let's do it.
Excellent. Jazz. I am almost at the end of my month-long charity-sponsored readathon that I do every year. So that's why I almost always have a book corner around this time, and then never again throughout the rest of the year. If you would like to sponsor me, justgiving.com/page/Stacey Bookworm 24. Thank you very much. I've read 10 books so far, which I think is pretty good for...
That is pretty good. 3
and a bit weeks. And the book that I specifically wanted to talk about, I actually was talking about it on the latest issue of The Parlour, but I hadn't finished it then. So I was doing a very speculative, this is amazing if it sticks the landing. It's a book by N.K. Jemisin, who I think I've banged on about on this show before when I was telling you about the Broken Earth trilogy.
Yes, you have.
Yes, which I absolutely adored. And it was one of those funny things where that trilogy, like, absolutely knocked my socks off. And then I read another trilogy of hers and it knocked my socks off. And then I picked up what I believe is called duology, because it's only 2. And it was one of the worst things I've ever read, and I was like, oh
wow.
Well, this is bad times. So I was a bit trepidatious when I picked up this book. It's called The City We Became, and it is the start of another trilogy. the basic sort of premise of it, and this isn't really a spoiler because it happens like at the end of the first chapter, so the premise of it is that cities, once they get past a certain level of like population and cultural evolution, will become born, and the spirit of the city will inhabit human avatars within that city. And most cities only get one. This book is about the story of New York being birthed and becoming a city, and it has 6. It has one for each of the 5 boroughs, and then one for like New York City as a whole. And so, I don't want to spoil it any more than this, so I'll just say that something goes awry, and a sort of squiggly eldritch evil has occurred at the time of the rebirth, and so this is the start of this evil trying to make its way into Earth via New York, trying to like circumvent these avatars, and it is so fucking good. Oh my god, like absolutely back on tip-top form. Loved it. All the characters are like, one of the things I love about N.K. Jemisin's writing is that all of the characters are very human in the sense that they are flawed. Sometimes they say or do really shitty things because guess what, humans make mistakes sometimes, and we're not good at, you know, life. And so like all of the characters feel very different, but they all feel very real, very human. And then the way that the book is written, you know how you were talking about when you came on to the 150th episode of The Parlour, you were saying that one of your problems with fantasy books is that people will spend so much time world building that by the time you get to the action, you fell asleep.
Yeah.
This book does a brilliant thing whereby you learn things as these newly birthed avatars learn things, because they didn't know they were avatars, and all of a sudden they're like, what's occurring? What's my life become? So the world building is sort of chipping away in the background as the action is happening, and the action like starts at the end of chapter 1 and basically doesn't stop for like the whole book. I am so hyped for book 2. Cannot wait to get my disgusting grubby mitts on it, and it's a full whole chested recommend from me. So
the book's called The City We Became.
Yes.
I'm making a note of it because I'm always after something new to read.
Yeah.
So obviously it's fantasy, but kind of when is it?
Oh, it's modern times.
Oh, okay. As in like modern or?
Yeah. People have like smartphones and that. Like it's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's another thing that I found quite interesting about it, because I hadn't got any clue what it was about. I was just resting this solely on the fact that, like, you know, Stace gives a thumb up to like 9 out of 10 N.K. Jemisin books. I bought it solely on her name, and I was like, please don't let me down. And in fact, I think I might like this more at the moment. Hesitant to say yet, because obviously there's still 2 more books I've got to read, but I think I like this more than the Broken Earth trilogy so far. So depending on where it goes, but yeah, I thought it was absolutely spectacular. Genuinely loved it.
Cool. Right. Well, I'm adding that to my list.
Excellent. I wonder as well, I'd be intrigued to know if any people from New York have read it, because I feel like there's probably some bits and bobs in there that are like really juicy morsels for somebody who has any sort of knowledge of New York that isn't from Spider-Man movies, which is what my knowledge is.
Okay. I wouldn't claim to like know New York. I've been to New York twice.
Right. Well, you're already doing better than me, because I've been to New York nevers.
So yeah, so I'm quite interested to sort of check that one out actually.
Excellent.
I think I've seen I think I've heard of this book before.
Yeah.
I think maybe it was nominated for something.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if it was, because it's genuinely really flipping brilliant. Because I've been reading through a few like of the. I asked for recommendations from like the Geek Syndicate and the Parlour groups a while back, and and I've been reading through a few recommendations, and I was really upset because somebody recommended me Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky, which I really wanted to like. But have you read it?
No, because I think Dave told me about it, and I stopped him when he got to the part where he said it's something like super intelligent spiders.
Yeah. So nobody had warned me about that part, and the blurb is just like, oh, humanity's trying to build life like off Earth core, but what if they have to fight the inhabitants of this planet to get it? And I was like, oh, that sounds like an interesting premise. Chapter 2, this big fat race of intelligent super spiders. No.
Yeah.
Now the worst part is I read the whole thing because I'm of a mindset of once I've started a book I can't not finish it. But the whole time, every other chapter, it's like humans, then spiders, then humans, then spiders, and it's constantly talking about mandibles and squiggly legs and webs, and I was like,
yeah.
It was a genuine. I'm sorry, Adrian. Your writing's wonderful, but absolutely not. Get out of town. Hated it. Yeah, so don't read that one. And also to all the people who recommended it to me, knowing that I'm an arachnophobe, like, fuck you, lads. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm glad that I wasn't in that group. Had I known you'd been recommended that, I would have run to your house and knocked the book out of your hand just to open it. Like, no.
I actually think the next book that's on my list is one that you recommended me, the Queen's Assassin.
Yeah, no spiders. You're all good.
Excellent. Cheers, Bab.
All good. That City We Became. There's another one.
Yes. So I knew book 2 was out. I don't think 3's out yet.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm keeping a beady eye out. I'm gonna treat myself to book 2 once I've finished this bookworm challenge as a sort of like, now you can read the book slowly and at your leisure.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, definitely. There's also there's an audio book as well, so I might see what that sounds like. If it doesn't sound great, I'll get it on Kindle or something.
Fair play.
But yeah, cool.
There you go. I'm glad that we don't have time for a pick of the fortnight this episode, because I have seen so many mediocre to shit films.
Okay.
Yeah, that I've got nothing for you, everybody. I'm sorry. So
yeah.
Should we call it an episode?
Let's call it an episode. Let's call it there.
Excellent. Folks, if you want to do a conversation with us, you're very welcome to, and you can follow us on most of the socials at Geek Syndicate and at Stacey's Parlour, or you can send an email to staceandbarry@gmail.com, or you can shout into the void and maybe we'll hear you. I don't know. I don't pay attention to the void very often, so maybe not. But
hey.
Yeah. On that note, have a bloody lovely. I tell you what, the atmosphere doing this in an actual morning is very different, I think, from recording in the evening. Not to get too much into how the sausage is made, but this does feel weird because I'm just about to go on and carry on with my day rather than go to bed.
I know.
It's very strange.
It is weird.
Yeah. Have a lovely one, everybody. Get some Godzilla in your eyes and ears because I said so, and you're welcome.
Yeah. Enjoy. Bye all.
To our pets. The end.